Well, continuing the conversation here on a Tuesday here in America's Voice Live. Thank you for spending time with me here today. Now, Democrats constantly say how it's inhumane to stop illegal aliens from crossing the border, and that's why they won't discourage illegal immigration into this country. 2 million so far this year. But what they won't tell you is how many people die trying to make this treacherous crossing from where some start in South America to the border itself. Auden Cabello is in Del Rio, Texas, a town I've been to. Used to be quite nice. He's also spent a lot of time at Eagle Pass, where he reports a record number of deaths are happening because of drowning in the river, dehydration, exposure, and violent attacks as well. Joining me now, he is. Auden, good to have you here.
Thank you for having me on.
So give me your assessment of the border today. In the area you are, Del Rio, I've been to that town. It's been about 5 years. It was nothing like what we're seeing today. It is completely different, isn't it?
It is. And it just so happens that it's the 1-year anniversary. We had the Haitian invasion, the 15,000 Haitians underneath our international bridge. And I just finished meeting with local ranchers. And what seems to be the border town has seemed to quiet it down with the migrants entering the country. It's actually the opposite. We hear of gotaways, those that are turning themselves in, like it happens in Eagle Pass with mainly Venezuelans, Cubans, and Nicaraguans. They surrender, send themselves into Border Patrol, and there's plenty of footage of that. And we hear talk of gotaways. Well, those gotaways, the majority are crossing here through Del Rio and the surrounding communities. And listening to the local ranchers, they're fed up. They're frustrated. Their properties are being destroyed. They're fencing their cattle. I mean, it's just affecting them, and they're to the point where they don't find a solution to what's being offered at the local, state, or federal level. And,
and I hear about businesses that are being overrun. I want you to weigh in on this. It's this, because we've seen this utterly ridiculous complaint from Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts, that somehow 50 Venezuelans could not be accommodated in one of the wealthiest pieces of real estate, not just in America, but in the world. Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts couldn't accommodate 50 people from Venezuela. But these border towns like Del Rio, they face thousands a day. The businesses can't support it. I see businesses that are shutting down because they keep getting broken into now, things that didn't used to happen. The violence, the crime, the people sleeping in the streets, the homelessness of these illegal aliens overrunning the cities. I mean, that's what's happening, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And just for context, I mean, 50 migrants at Martha's Vineyard, that's what we get within 30 minutes here in Eagle Pass. We're seeing groups of 500 at a time, 1,000, 1,500 throughout the day, each day. And one of the businesses that's being impacted the most is funeral homes. There's so many deaths now at the border, whether they're drowning, dehydration, that the funerals can no longer take these bodies. They don't have space for them. And now it's affecting their service to the local community. And the directors that I've spoken to, they told me it's like it's from a business standpoint, it's hurting us drastically to the point where we can't be of help to our community because we're having to take all these bodies in. So now we're having to turn them away. And now it's forcing the judges to send these bodies to be buried at the local cemetery with PVC crosses and John Doe names on them because they're not being identified.
Let me ask you about that, Auden. Let me ask you about that because I've also heard reports, you're right there, I've heard reports that refrigeration trucks are being brought in because the number of bodies are so numerous in some places. There's no way to accommodate those in the funeral homes or the morgue or whatever might be available. So they're bringing in refrigerated trucks because the number of deaths, and you're right, it's not being reported. People drown in the river every day. People are raped and murdered. People are dying from exposure out there, one after another. What about those refrigeration trucks just to help handle the number of bodies that are piling up?
Yes, that's correct. As far as I know, the city of Laredo had to bring in a second truck, and Eagle Pass is also considering bringing in one because there's so many bodies that they need that extra space to hold these all these bodies. And also, just for context, the funeral home director said we used to deal with these bodies maybe once every 6 months. Now we're having to do one a day. That's how many bodies we're having to deal with, and it's affecting our business.
So what do you do? I mean, obviously you're getting no help from the federal government, but why does Governor Abbott continue to refuse to declare an invasion? Because if he did that, my understanding is that he'd have every right to close the border in Texas, and yet he doesn't do it. He ships people to Chicago and D.C. and wherever else, but wouldn't it be more effective for the governor of Texas to step up and say, look, it's an invasion? What are we at, 19 or 20 counties, maybe more now and counting, that have declared an invasion? The number grows every day. Where are we? And why doesn't he do that?
Yes, sir, that's correct. More and more counties are joining the list. And just here, talking to the local ranchers moments ago, that's their biggest complaint, is that we're not getting help at the local and state level. And there is frustration towards Governor Abbott that he's not doing enough. And they've been asking for him to declare this invasion so they can get the help that they desperately need.
Yeah, so why doesn't he do it? Why not declare the invasion? Why not just do that and then get the resources you need?
That's a great question, and more than anything, it's got to be politically motivated. And the biggest fear along the border communities is that if he doesn't do enough and declare an invasion, that you may have candidates like Beto O'Rourke take over the governorship and say, now we're going to go, it's going to be even worse for us. So they're finding ways, they're looking for ways to pressure Governor Abbott to declare an invasion, and so they can get the support and help that they need. And it's just not just the ranchers, it's the communities all along the border. Rio, Eagle Pass, Quemado, and there's a few others, Rio Grande Valley.
Well, the question is this, and I'll leave it with this. How much longer can communities like Del Rio there in Texas near the border? And again, I've been there. It's been a few years, not long. Great place. I love that stretch of the country, and it wasn't overrun then. How long can this continue before there is no Del Rio, Texas, or Laredo, or Brownsville, or whatever it might be, just because they're just so decimated? The crime is so rampant, the businesses are gone, the infrastructure has been overwhelmed. How long can this go on?
Well, everybody's praying that they can hold off 2 more years and have a new administration place where they'll make changes that will, drastic changes that will solve this crisis and return to normal, as they say. But they're holding off, hopefully, for another 2 years till we get a new president, new administration in office.
Well, I hope you're right. Auden Cabello, greatly appreciate you being here. Del Rio, it's a place that deserves an opportunity to be defended by the American government, by the Texas government as well. We wish you the very best and hope that someday, sooner as opposed to later, that will be addressed and taken care of and the border will be closed. Thank you for being here today.